Hi, it's Lisa, and I am here to talk to you guys about your Pottery to Go kit. We're gonna go over project number 1, which is a set of nesting bowls that we made by pinching. And this project is good for beginners and up. So everybody can do this. It's not gonna look exactly like mine. Might look better. But we're gonna go through the what's in the bag, the rules, the process, and it's gonna be fun. So here we go. So forgive any weirdness in filming, because I'm kind of winging it. So in the bag, let's talk about that first. Let me move my pinchies. Hey, don't fall off there, little guy. In the bag, you're gonna have a kit like this, and it's the Bear Clay Pottery to Go kit. And for 65 bucks, you get all the stuff in here, and you also get access to these magnificently produced instructional videos. And they are project specific. You can go off the script a little bit, but there are a couple little rules involved. So we'll talk about those. But this is a specific kit for this specific project. So you're gonna have in the kit, you're gonna have some clay. This is about 2 pounds. And you're gonna have 4 colors. You get the primary colors plus black. And these are underglazes, so without boring you to death on what that means, they're kind of like clay. You can paint them all over your piece, right? So this is all that comes in the kit. Also included with your kit is firing. So you're gonna have to bring it back to me to put in my kilns, and I'll talk to you guys about that as well. So this is a fun way to do ceramics at home during the pandemic. So let me put this to the side, and I'll bring this guy back over. So this is a fun project. It's one of my favorite projects. I love nesting bowls, and that means they're bowls that sit inside one another. And these are hand built, so they have a lot of texture, a lot of character, I like to call it. They're not exactly perfect, they're not exactly even, but look how cute that is when they nest inside one another, right? And if you cook, or if you eat, or if you like to look at things, you can tell that these have a great purpose in your life. So it's tough to get them exactly perfectly right so they line up and sit inside each other. So we'll talk about that a little bit. The process for each one is the same. The only difference is they're different in size, right? So I'm not gonna make you watch me do 4 of them. I'm gonna have you watch me do 1, and then you can figure it out. So, and we're gonna do a little, scooching in. A little bit of painting as well, okay? So, we're gonna unpack the bag. We're gonna separate the clay. So here's that part. Unpack my bag. Now these underglazes have lids on them. They are sealed pretty tight, but I do try to make sure my clay doesn't squash my underglaze. What about tools, Lisa? Well, good question. We're gonna need tools, and so you're gonna have to rely on yourselves for the tools because they're not in the kit. Check this out. Making space. Here's what you need. You're gonna need, for your tools, a fork, maybe. You might not use, I didn't use a fork in this one, but you might need it for another day. Maybe a little knife. I'm getting my thing pulled up. Paintbrushes. That might be the hardest thing I ask you guys to provide for yourselves. You don't have to have a variety like I do. I have a fan brush, a skinny, and then kind of a moppy brush. It's up to you. This is a wire cutter like I keep in the studio, but at home you're gonna use dental floss, and it's to cut your clay with. So I put my paints over here. I've got them off to the side. And now I'm going to unpack the clay kit, and I'm gonna talk about what I'm doing. Let's see, I'm gonna scooch my camera back. This is when it's clunky. This is when the production value, oh, it's not awful. Okay, good. So let's unpack the clay. Another little tip, keep this big bag because you might want to keep your clay moist inside that big bag. This is 2 pounds of clay. It's kind of a lot. So when I'm doing nesting bowl, oh wait, don't do it that way, Lisa. Get the dental floss and cut it. Oh, so satisfying. I promise you're gonna love that part. Let's start with 4 pieces, okay? There's gonna be a biggie. There's gonna be a little bit less biggie, and then a little bit smaller, and then a teeny tiny. Wait, that's not right. So this is how I do them. I want them to get progressively smaller. So I just start kind of winging it here with tearing little bits off and putting it on. I want this one to be bigger, this one to be a little smaller. So what I do is I just kind of tear bits off and then bang them back into a ball, so that each ball is bigger than the next ball. And this part is a little boring. I'm not going to torture you with it, but when I teach this in the studio, I tell people it's kind of like you want it to look a little bit like a snowman. And I'd rather use clay, a little big. So this part is kind of tough to assess, but you guys will figure it out. You might have to take a little bit off as you go. See how that's getting a little snowmanish? And then a teeny tiny little snowman head. Not in the frame. I'm gonna scoot back just a little bit. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so much better. Snowman, resting. Okay. Now, I might, as I'm working, I might need to tear some off or add some. If you end up with extra clay, just bring it back in your bag. You don't have to use every bit of this clay if it messes up your design, right? So, it's so cute. So, step 1, separate. Separation is done. Okay, step 2, pinch and texture. I usually start here, pinch this guy, then this guy, then this guy, then this guy. But in the interest of time, I'm gonna select the next to smallest guy, and I'll show you how to do a pinch pot. Start with a round ball. It's one of my favorite techniques. Round ball, and then you just shove your thumbs into a hole that you've made. You're gonna pinch and turn and pinch and turn and pinch and turn. It's fat all over right now. If you go towards the top with some pinching, get the top worked out, see that? Then it's thicker down here. I'll usually kind of go back and forth between the top part and the sides and the bottom and try to pinch evenly. So the whole idea of pinch potting is quite like the idea of wheel throwing, where we're turning the clay and applying pressure to it so that that pinching is even. So turning it makes my pinches even. See that? Getting a little bit bowly, getting kind of cute. Mine are kind of deep, but you can go wide pinch pots at Nest, which is also real cute. Every now and then when I'm pinching, see how my top is a little wavy? I'll take him and just tap him on the table like that, and that flattens out the top. See how that evened it out? You can leave them kind of thick, or you can pinch them out thinner, but do me a favor, you guys. If you make a pinch pot that is as thin as a burrito shell, it's too thin. And too thin is really the only big mistake you can make. Too thick, believe it or not, is not as bad as too thin. So this guy is about this thick all over, the thickness of the lip, which I'm gonna call that about 1/4 of an inch, which is really nice, right? The bottom is wonky because I haven't really flattened it out yet. I used the table to flatten that out. If you want to, you can work on some newspaper. I'm at the studio, so I'm working on the table, but you can work on a placemat, a newspaper, whatever you want. Maybe not your mom's good dining room table. I'm just saying. It's never happened at my house, but you never know. Okay, pinch pot. And then you're gonna make others in the same way, and they are going to fit inside one another, right? Oh, look at you. You go in there, and you go in there. You can do 3, you can do 2, you can do 4, but don't do more than 4. That's the rule for this project. 4 pieces only. My original project is 1, 2, 3, 4, and I love those nesting balls. So I also, at this stage, so that's the pinching part, do that to four pieces, all 4 of your little ballses. And then I did a little detail around the top, and for that I used my other sophisticated tool, the pencil. And what I do to texturize the top is I just hold one side, and I'm just putting little dots from the pencil. If you push all the way through, it'll be a hole, right? You can do this with your pencil. You can do this. Ooh. Is that backwards? You can come grab your fork and do this. Gorgeous texture. You can do whatever you want. You can do dots all over the entire outside. People find this very satisfying, as do I, right? I don't care how you guys do this, but have fun doing it, right? So, 4 nesting bowls. After you've done them and you're happy with them, now we're gonna paint them. So these paints can be mixed. You can take your red and dump some out, again, on maybe a paper plate or something, not on your mom's table like I just did. But we're gonna get maybe a little red. Oh, this is red. It looks pink, but it'll turn fire engine red. A little yellow. They're kind of globby and weird. Get out. And you can take a brush and mix them. And this will be orange. You can paint these make these like palette painting, just how we would mix oil paints or acrylics, right? So, can you see that? There we go. Don't block your own view, Lisa. So, here's some orange. What if each pinch pot has a different color inside? Cute. Now, about the painting, I'm painting this color on here after this thing has dried a little bit. So, when we're talking about clay, we'll often say that this is kind of like working condition, right? How it's gonna come, where it's real mushy. After you make something and let it set out for maybe an hour or so, depending on the humidity and stuff, it's gonna stiffen up. And these are a little bit harder. These are what we call leather hard. And when we say leather, we don't mean like lovely soft gloves. We mean like a saddle or like a piece of hard cheese, like Parmesan, okay? So leather hard is a really good time to apply your colors, but it doesn't matter too much. You can apply your colors to bone dry clay. That kind of explains itself, right? When it's all the way dry. Or you can apply your colors to wet clay. I personally like leather hard for painting on my colors. So fun and satisfying. So you've got the primary colors and you've got black. So do what you want with this, you guys. You can do whatever you want. I don't know, are you doing dots? Are you gonna marble some colors? You know, what if it was wet and I added some red in with the blue? What if I swirlied it around a little? Is it gonna look purple when it's fired? Maybe. So know ahead of time that this is an unknown part. Your colors are gonna come out a little differently than you think they're gonna come out. So just be open-minded and have fun with it, okay? You don't have to paint them all exactly the same, or you can get real cute with the way you do them. You've got, I don't know, it's about an ounce of each color. So use them wisely, because you're at home and you can't exactly come get more from me in that moment. So anyway, if you've got stuff in progress that you don't want to get too dry, you can put your guys back inside the big bag and put it on some kind of board and seal it up. So if I wanted to come back and work on this tomorrow, I could. And this should keep it somewhat moist. Once they're dry, they're kind of dry. So make sure, when I tell folks, we're coming back up. What I tell folks, is to try to make it so that you're done. When you set them out to totally dry in the air, make it so that you're done with the shaping, right? You can still carve on dry clay. You can use your pencil to push into stuff on dry clay. If clay is leather hard and you've applied an underglaze, you can go back into it, and scrape away and make little things like that, and I love that. It's called Sgraffito. So, have fun with this, and at the end of your project, you're going to email me and I will let you know some good times to bring this baby back. And you're gonna bring it back and it's gonna be all beautiful and ready to fire. And I'll fire it for you, and then you can come pick it up in maybe a couple weeks after you drop it off. But stay in touch with me and I'll let you know exactly what to do, okay? And when you bring it back, it doesn't have to be bone dry. It can be leather hard. It can be still wet. You don't have to worry about that. Sometimes they're a little tough to transport when they're bone dry, so handle them with care. They're very, very fragile. Okay, be safe. I'll talk to you soon. There's gonna be more projects. This is project 1, nesting bowls. Bye.